Can you put up the slide, please? So while we wait for the slides, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Tim Mathews. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called as Finsall. Finsall stands for Financing Insurance for All. Show of hands, how many of you are entrepreneurs sitting here today? Oh wow. How many of you have raised money from an angel, VC, private equity, IPO? 1, 2. Okay, so I can say anything I want and then get away with it. How many of you have raised beyond Series A? Anyone? Okay, so I'm pretty safe. How many of you are investors here? Okay, wrong conference room. Okay. How many of you are students? 1? Just 1 student, wow. 2, okay, great. You're in your bachelor's, school, college? Masters, okay, great. Masters, bachelor's, okay. Nobody's from school, right? 10th, 11th, 12th? Okay. In Bangalore, we have a different category of people raising funds. That's why I'm asking. We have 9 student kids raising funds. Cool. So while we figure out where my presentation went roaming about, I'll just go about talking about today's session. One of the first things that Aditya, who's a part of Kerala Startup Mission, talked about was that there is roughly around 7,000 to 8,000 startups under Kerala Startup Mission. And any guesses how many of them have got funded so far? Less than 50, more than 50, more than 100, more than 500, more than 1,000? Any guesses? More than 100, how many of you say? More than 1,000? 1,000 is also more than 100. I think about 40 to 50 startups have got funded. And I'm talking about serious funding, not angel funding. So today we're going to talk about how to raise the first check from your investor. And we'll talk about what are the different kind of investors in the market. You would hear a lot of terms called venture capital. How many of you have heard venture capital, VC? Great. How many of you have heard about private equity? Great. So these are the common terms. How many have heard of angels, super angels, micro VC, EVC, LVC? Okay, so these are more complex investors. We'll talk about that as well, what these terms mean. You'll meet a lot of them today and tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So make use of this time. I think my presentation has finally been located. Thank you. So let me tell you a bit of where I come from. I come from a small village called Koyanjeri. Anybody heard of Koyanjeri? Okay, great. It's about 130 kilometers from here. Our claim to fame is Mr. Muthoot and family, who seem to originate from our small village and run a global business empire from there. My background, I'm a BTech in mechanical engineering from IIT Madras. I did my minor in finance during that time. Did my master's from the US in finance and entrepreneurship. And right after my MBA, started business. So I've been an entrepreneur now for almost 16 years. Set up 4 companies till date. Finsall is my latest experiment, as we call it. And till now, I have raised about 8 rounds of funding, one including last evening where we closed about beginning of a $5 million fund. And in terms of raising funds, I have raised funds from grants, angels, super angels, micro VCs, VCs, debt, venture debt, from investors in India, US, Middle East, and Southeast Asia. So I guess I can tell you about a bit of my experience. I don't claim to be an expert. I see some of you raising seed rounds of $2.5 million. When we were raising funds back in 2009, a seed round was about 2 crores, right? So glad to see that we are progressing as a state. Moving on to the topics that we'll cover here today. The intention is I have about 45 minutes. I will spread a lot of my own personal experiences, and I want questions to be asked. I would prefer it if it is a 2-way session, and you can meet me after the session if you have any questions after that. I'm also on the mentor role, so if you want any guidance in terms of how to raise money from investors in Kerala, outside India, from institutions, from VCs, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to give you a hand. The last session in terms of the how to raise or how to improve funding chances, that is something that I saw a few hands from some of you who have raised checks from few angels, right? Nobody's raised funds from a VC? Okay, so I will tell you or walk you through a couple of good ways to go about raising funds from a VC as well. Okay. So before we start, this is something that I want to tell to the youngsters in the crowd who think that fundraising will happen tomorrow and there's an investor with a $10 million check waiting for me day after tomorrow. And on Sunday when I go home, I'll have a $1 billion valuation. Right? Life doesn't happen that fast. It happens if you're lucky, but it is a marathon. So prepare for a marathon. And I'm just ahead of you in the marathon. I've been running for the last 16 years. So you're just starting. Some of you will raise $20 million seed checks. You will be ahead of me in the marathon. But we all can share experiences and then take the whole state along. Agree? Disagree? Cool. So let me start with what are the different types of external funding. Funding are of two types. One is internal and one is external. What is internal funding? Founders, you have your own capital that you raise from yourself, which is also known as bootstrapped, right? All of you know what's bootstrap mean? Yes, no? How many of you don't know what a bootstrap means? Okay, so I can carry on. We saw a couple of pitches and I was really happy with some of them, and they've already got paying customers, right? Customers are a great source of funding. Yes? No? The short lady who claimed to be selling linen before this, amazing job. She already has customers, correct? She makes about 4.5. Are you there, ma'am, still in the crowd? Okay. She seems to be after investors now, right? So she's already got her own funding from her own customers. So that is customers, bootstrap, all are internal funding methods. If you look at external funding, I would like to divide external funding into three sort of categories. The first category on the left, extreme left, that you can see is grant, aid, subsidy, and business plan competitions. All of you in your master's program still in college, there's a lot of business plan competitions where every year they have to give out prize money, free of cost. No equity charged, they don't ask anything. And I also took part. I also raised business plan funding. I also got the Kerala Startup Mission Scale-Up Fund. How many of you have applied for that? Guys, free money. The good part is I returned the money back to the government, right? Luckily, the Kerala government was very happy that they got the grant money back, because I know that grant money of 12 lakhs was very important for us for almost 6 months to pay off salaries. So when we raised our funding, we gave it back to the government to help probably some of you in the market. So please, the least you can do is at least apply for the Kerala state scale-up funding. Can all of you do that? Free money, no equity. It's given by the government to help you. It's in public benefit. There are a lot of states in India. There are a lot of colleges in India. There are a lot of families in India sitting on truckloads of money which want to be given free of cost. Can you all apply for it at least? Yes? No? Maybe? Or you want the money to fall in your bank account automatically? It doesn't happen, right? So the first step, start with whatever free money that you can get, because you don't have to give away equity. You don't have to give interest. You don't have to give any control over your company for that. Do you know that Kerala government has multiple districts and they have funding set out for each of these districts? Are you aware of it? Yes? No? Okay, guys, you guys need to do a lot of homework. A lot of homework. There's a lot of free money. All you need to do is fill an application, stand in front of a couple of learned people who will say, why are you going to use the money for? And you have to give reasons like, sir, I want to party in Leela. I want to go and give my salary. You have to give better reasons than that, right? So if you can do that, that's your money. And that's probably one of the only states in the country. I've been to Delhi, I've worked in Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore. Nobody's as generous as Kerala. Right? So please apply for that. Do I need to talk more about the first level of funding? All of you clear about what that funding is? Yes, no, maybe? I think there was a candidate up here who had applied to IIT for a funding. So IIT also gives a lot of funding. You don't have to be an IITian for that. You just have to apply. And if your idea is good enough, you can get the funding. Right? IIM also has funding. Are you aware that IIM Calicut is there in Kerala? Please go to these business plan competitions. A lot of investors come there. Let's talk about the second type of funding, which a lot of you are familiar about. How many of you know what a loan is? Great. As entrepreneurs, we'll never get a loan. Right? So forget that type of funding. Unless you give your house. How many of you have 10 houses that one house you can give? Okay, I'm going to give loan. Right? We don't have probably a house ourselves, and our parents will say, I built my, I spent my entire 40 years building a house for you, and that you want to give it as a loan. So chances are that you will not have a collateral to give as a house as well. And you go to, how many of you have left a corporate job to start an entrepreneurship? Oh, great. Now you see the value of your salary, right? When you're a salaried job, you have credit card guys chasing you, home loan guys chasing you. The moment you say, I'm entrepreneur, suddenly, no calls. The second line also seems to vanish after some point of time. Yes, no? How many of you have tried CGTMSE loans? Have you been successful in getting? You got one? How many else got it? So out of a room of 150 people, only one has got it. 2 has got it. 3 has got it. It's difficult, but that's at least a scheme there for entrepreneurs like you to go ahead and get a loan from the government at a very low interest rate. CGTMSE, Credit Guarantee Trust for Small and Medium Enterprises, right? There's something called as loans and bonds. So we just raised our venture debt last evening. It was about $2 million. We took it from a venture debt. How many of you have heard of a venture debt company? Venture debt? VC? Yes? Brother of a VC. It's called a venture debt. These are companies which give loans to startups who have already raised VC funding. So any point going after venture debt right now? Sir, I've not raised my first check itself. How will I get venture debt? Right? So a prerequisite for a venture capital or a prerequisite for a venture debt is a venture capital firm should already be there on your cap table. So any point going after venture debt? No. So Tim, you've mentioned all these funding methodologies and you're saying you can't go there, you can't go there. So what is left? What is left? Equity. And this is where we all start our journeys with, right? So most of you who started out as entrepreneurs really earlier on, you have bootstrapped your way like I did. When we went to a VC first, my first check, they asked me at least do 20 lakhs of business and then come back, right? This is my 4th company. The first 3 company, I decided not to raise funds. Fresh out of college, I said we'll bootstrap and we'll do it the old school way. We made profits and we built company based on profits. But the scaling up of profitable companies early on is very different from a VC funded company. We'll talk about that in the next slide when we talk about the type of investors and the type of companies. But who are the people that we should be talking to? Should we be talking to VCs? How many of you say yes? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the rest of you either are waiting for lunch or just had lunch or are thinking about lunch. Are you in the class? Yes, no, maybe? Okay, so then the rest of you don't know genuinely. Okay. Yes, ma'am, I talked about that in the internal funding. This is the external funding. That was the first, that's where I started from, where customers and your own savings, bootstrap, are your first methods of funding. I have now come to the next stage of funding, which is the external levels of funding. So we are on the next slide. But yes, you're absolutely right. So when you look at the equity part, there's something called as the 3F. How many of you have heard of 3F? And there's a 4th F. I was waiting for somebody like you to answer all 3 Fs. Yes. The 4th F is your father-in-law. So how many of you are married over here? Okay, so you guys have a scope for the 4th F. The remaining of you don't even have that option, right? You're stuck with the 3 Fs. Then you have somebody called as an angel. We'll talk about what an angel is on the next slide. Then there is a VC, private equity, and IPO. That's probably when you are scaling really, really rapidly. And we'll talk about the equity investors there. But what is the difference between all of the 3 models? Primarily, if you look at it, there is the repayment and there is the ownership, right? So in repayment, do we have to repay a loan? Yes. You have to make interest payments and then you have to make a bullet principal payment. What about equity? Do we have to make any repayments for equity? So it's very good, right? That's what you should all be gunning for. Take the money and run and don't ever pay it back. Like thankfully my VCs are not sitting in this room, they're in that room, so I can tell you all this. So what is it that you have to look about when you raise equity funding? Is it that easy? How many of you tried equity fundraising? The rest of you haven't even tried. Oh wow, at least all of you have tried, so you know how easy it is. But the guys who haven't even tried are just thinking about fundraising. Very good. So let's talk about the ownership aspect, right? There's a slide called King or Rich, right? We'll talk about the entrepreneur's dilemma. But before that, in debt funding, you don't give away ownership of the company. That means 100% of the company is yours. You just have to make the interest payments. Clear? Similarly, in grant, you don't have to give away your company. You just have to make sure that the grant is used. If you're very, very happy, very profitable, please give money back to the grant entity. They will also give it to somebody else who needs the grant, right? But when you talk about equity, you're giving away ownership of your company. That means you have, how much percentage of your company do you have when you started? 100%? You have 100% of your company. Some of you disagree. At the back, are all of you clear? 100% is what we start with. So the moment you raise equity from an investor, either a 3F or an angel or a VC or a P or an IPO, you have to give away equity in the company. And we'll talk about that as well. But then it's no longer, 100% of the company is no longer yours. If you sat through the previous session where you saw all of the entrepreneurs talking about equity in the company, some had 70, some had 80, the last person had about 100% of a company. So that is what we'll talk about, what we give in lieu of the money that you raise. Clear? Guys, you have to at least, these are two languages I understand, or else lunch is, I think, being served. Please feel free. So, how many of you have seen that graphic on the left-hand side? It's a bit light, but that is the best graphic, which is the most detailed graphic I could find on this topic. How many of you heard of the value of death? Oh, wow. You've jumped into entrepreneurship without hearing of value of death. Only 2 people. So let me welcome you to the value of death, right? So this is where you are, or this is where you are. What's the difference between this and this? This line just indicates that you have started your company. This line indicates that you're still thinking about your company. Got it? Clear? Yes? No? Okay. So this is the, I can't see the, okay. This is firm formation, right? This is when you've established your company. And this is the stage of where you're going. Now, as you start from the idea stage or the very, very early stage on, you go through a level of euphoria, you start up the company, and then is the roller coaster upward or downward? Hopefully downward, because if you're going upwards, then you don't need to be in this conference room. But if you're not going upward, then you're entering the valley of death. And when you go to the valley of death, you go through different stages, which is very, very important as an entrepreneur. And for different stages, you have different types of funding. Is it clear? How many of you are in this stage? IPO? No, I was talking about. You're in the IPO stage, man. I think you should be on stage. Okay. So this is the IPO stage where, how many of you subscribe to Grow or Lenskart, any of the IPOs? Yeah. So this is the stage where you raise money from the public. Got it? Just before the IPO stage, you have something called as a private equity. So if you meet a private equity investor, should you say hi to him right now? Guys, if you meet a private equity investor, should you say hi to him right now? Yes, no, maybe. How many yeses? How many no's? What were the rest of you thinking, really? Okay. So, guys, you have 2 days. Try to meet as many investors as you can. Clear? Because you guys are just starting up. A private equity firm wants revenues which are very, very scalable. They probably want you to make a couple of 100 crores a month before you even talk to them. Is it clear? So if you have a family friend who's a private equity folk, yes, please do meet him. Ask him what is the way to reach there. But otherwise, just stick to the first 4 categories because you don't have time, right? You have 48 hours, today and tomorrow, and for Sunday. So all the investors probably will leave by Sunday morning from Kerala, right? Today and tomorrow, try to meet as many of these first 4 guys, right? You have, I think, till here. Try to meet as many of them. So we'll just talk about each of these types of investors. Can you read just before private equity what happens? venture capital. Can all of you read it? Is it clear to you guys? Just before private equity, you have venture capital. That's called a VC. So a VC is somebody who invests probably when you're just trying to get out of the valley of death. We'll go through the valley of death. People who invest earlier are called EVC, early VC. People who invest late are called LVC, late VCs. Is it clear? Now all of you know what is an LVC, EVC, VC. Clear? Okay. Now coming to early stage VC. Early stage VCs are also called as micro VC. Micro VC, have you heard of the term micro VC? And you're wondering who are those people? These are VCs who write very small checks. Clear? Yes, no, maybe? Okay, cool. Then we get into the angel territory, which is where a lot of investors are in the Kerala Startup Mission Huddle this weekend, right? A lot of you need to meet investors who are probably angels or micro VC or early VC. In angels, we have different definition of angel investor. Who's an angel investor? Somebody who invests before revenue. Can you see the stage at which the company is? The company is just going, so this is the profitability line, or when you scaled up really well. So he's just getting into the valley of death. And the person who helps you in that time is called an angel, because literally he gives you money when nobody else gives you money. Is that clear? Who is an angel? Angel can be your rich uncle who's retired from the Middle East, or who had a couple of startups, made a lot of money, and he's wondering where to invest. There are a lot of people who genuinely have made money starting up, and they want to invest in other startups like all of you, because that's how they made money, and they feel the kick of investing in other startups, right? They are experts in their domain. They are people who you would want to meet. Is it clear? Yes? No? What is a super angel? You've heard of angel. What is a super angel? So a super angel is somebody who is set up an entity, an institutionalized fund, where his job is to invest money. He's retired from his company, or he sold his company, and he has tens of crores, and he wants to write 10 lakh checks. But he wants to do it in an official way. So he hires a couple of people, sets up an office, sets up a fund, and that's when they start investing. Or it could be a couple of angels together. They form an angel network. How many of you have heard of angel networks? Kerala angels, there's Calicut angels, there's Chennai angels, Delhi angels. A lot of angel network, right? So there's angel networks. There are super angels who get together, 5 of them saying, yeah, let's start a fund. So the 5 of us, all of us are writing 10, 20 lakh checks, 50 lakh checks, 1 crore checks. Let's just write a larger check. So it's an institutionalized. So all of you know what's a super angel now? So what's the difference between VCs and VCs? So technically there's no difference. They're all giving you money. It's just the nature of the check. A VC gives you the size of the check. So angels invest anywhere from 1 lakh up to about 5 crores. That's the max. Beyond 5 crores, I've not seen angels writing checks. But if you go to US angels, like in the US, if you meet Zuckerberg will write a couple of $1 million checks for you, right? So he's also an angel, but he's a large angel. But in India, typically it maximizes at around 5 crores. In the VC territory, you start from about 1 crore and can go up to, have you heard of Sequoia? They write tens of millions. They can write you $50 million checks, $100 million checks. So those are the level of a VC, from 1 crore all the way up to a couple of million. Private equity starts with at least 10 million, 80 crores. No, now it's 91 crore, sorry. 91 crores all the way up to the sky's the limit. Okay. Companies, there are VCs like QVC, Qatar Venture Capital, who can buy out Adani and stuff like that. So, technically it's just the size of the money. Okay. And then there's something called PIPE. How many of you have heard of PIPE? PIPE? Not the normal pipes. So private equity investment in public markets. Right? So they're private equity again, but they don't invest in funds like you. They only invest in IPO'd companies. So that's outside the scope because none of you are listed. But that is also there. Private equity investments in public money. Right? So that's PIPE. So these are different types of investors. Are all of you clear? 3Fs? 3F is very clear. I don't need to explain that. Right? So as you start the journey, you will go through multiple phases, and this is where all of you are. We were, until recently here, where we became profitable, and we've been profitable for about almost a quarter now. So now we are talking to private equity folks. I'm now raising a $25 million check. So I'm going to the next level. But we are in the business of lending. I cannot grow my business without raising more capital. I give money to people for buying insurance, right? So that's the kind of business I am in. But many of you would be in various stages where you can do with free money, angel money, VC money. But ask yourself, do you really need money, right? So that is something that we'll talk about. Are there advantages of angels? Are there disadvantages of angels? Yes. So what are the biggest advantages of angels? They bring domain expertise. Yes, no, maybe. They do bring that. They have networks because they get in and they influence other people who have bigger networks, and they bring more money to the cap table. Third, they make decisions very fast. You'll meet them in the weekend and then they'll tell you, yeah, Monday I'll wire you the money. There are people actually who do that. They'll meet you on the weekend, they like you, they like your product. They'll not take a couple of weeks or months to transfer the money. They'll just do it over the weekend. There are people who will give it to you in the same evening itself, right? But it takes a lot of time to build that network. And the fourth is they're very flexible. They understand what you've gone through. So they empathize with you as an entrepreneur. They believe in your story and they invest behind you. When do they invest? When you have nothing. When you have just a name, you have a private limited LLP or whatever you have started, and that's when the angels invest you. But what are the cons of angel investing? There could be hidden agendas, right? Somebody would want my son to get into your company and just become a director. There could be those as well. So be careful about who you take money from, because once they are inside, you give them your equity. Remember we talked about ownership in the previous slide? It's very difficult to part away with those investors unless it really makes sense, right? So those are the pros and cons. So I've explained to you about angels, super angels, micro VC, VC. Any question about any type of investor? All of you clear? So who should you meet in the next 2-3 days? Angels? Any private equity guys? Meet as many angels, meet as many VCs. Just take Huddle's page. Wherever you see VC, micro VC, super angel, hunt their names down, take their photograph. I don't know, there's an AI app for scanning people and say, okay, that's a VC. Please meet them. Hunt down the Kerala Startup Mission guys, apply for the scale-up grants, free money that you can utilize to build your dreams. Is it clear? Cool. So this is something that that as an entrepreneur, all of you have to be clear on. And I think it's very important that you do this today or over the weekend or over the next month. There's something called as king or rich. Are you aware of it? Have you heard of this before? So you have two choices in life as an entrepreneur. Do you want to become king or do you want to become rich? Sorry ma'am, queen or rich as well. When I say king, I just mean both the genders. Apologies for that. And this is a male standing there, but it's him, her, or they, or whatever you want to call it, right? So the intention is that all of you should be clear whether you want to be rich or king. What is the difference between king and rich? Any ideas? Any guesses? Yes. You can be a king and have 100% ownership of your company, and you can grow it the way you want. Nobody's going to ask you. That's the way you want to do business. Great idea. Or the other way around, where on the other side of the table, you decide to become rich and you give away ownership of your company in the hope of becoming successful really, really fast. All of you have heard of HDFC Bank? Any idea how much Aditya Puri has equity in the company? Almost nothing, less than 1%, technically speaking. Less than 1%, yeah. Yeah, I decided to be rich long time back. It's a game. So first 3 companies, I tried to be king. I didn't raise funds. And I just realized that this is a different game altogether. So the first 3 companies, like if we had the MBA, ran it profitably, made successful, but we could never scale. The maximum I had was 15 employees. Right? Today, we have about 81 families in our company, and we'll be scaling up to about 150 people by March. Right? So that is where we are going. Right? So you have to decide. And I come from Coinjeri. Right? Go figure. Right? So have all of you decided? Yes? No? Yes, sir. You have a question? How many of you want to become king? You have a very different type of fundraising ahead of you. Right? What I talked about VCs, angels, a very different method of raising funds, your funding has to be internal, where you still have 100% of your company. You can go after grants, you can go after profitable ventures, you can look at making other companies which are profitable, and then driving the funding in your company. Got it? But there is a way you can still continue to have 100% and still be, you've heard of private companies, all of you eat chocolates, sneakers, Mars. It's a privately held company, very successful. It's a family-run business, but very successful. So there are good examples of family-run businesses which have 100% control and successful. So it's not that you have to raise funding from a VC or an angel to be successful. Is it clear? Yes? No? Maybe? So being either choosing either of the sides does not make it wrong. Both are equally correct. They just have different ways of going about doing stuff. Is it clear? Yes? Which leads to the next question, bootstrap or fundraise? What is bootstrap? All of you know what's bootstrap? Anybody who does not know what is bootstrap, I'll just make it clear for you, that's all. All of you clear what bootstrap is? Ma'am, I think you were talking about customers, right? So internal customers, when you have your own customers and make it profitable and it's enough to sustain your business, that is what bootstrap is. So let's go to the next sort of business. I was talking to my VC last evening when I told him, sir, we just closed our venture debt fund. And he said, when you're going to present today, he's invested in Kerala startups. And one of the first things he's told me to talk to you guys about is whether your business is actually fundable or not. Is it important? You are sitting on one side of the table saying that I want to raise funds, and the other side of the table, who is sitting? A VC or a super angel or an angel, correct? He has to like your business. There has to be something in your business that he can fund. Agree? It's kind of like marriage. You want to get married, but the other person also has to like you, right? I mean, the guys in school and kids, I mean, it's a problem you'll face a couple of years down the line. But anyways, coming back to fundable business and lifestyle business. There are two types of business. The first three businesses I started were lifestyle businesses. I was in consulting. I used to work for venture capital and private equity firms. We used to do so before they invest in companies like you, they do a lot of research. I used to do that research for the private equity firms. Right? So I had an investment bank where I used to run it. We used to raise capital. I have done about 10 to 15 fundraise for different startups and then raising funding. But it's a lifestyle business. It pays my bills. I get money up front. I have to serve them for 10, 12 months and then close the deal and then I get more money. Right? Very nice business, nice lifestyle, but it's not scalable. All of you know what scalable is? Growing almost at 90 degrees is scalable. When your revenues are going very, very high in a very short span of time, that is called scale. All of you know Make My Trip? Before Make My Trip, what did we have? Some of you saying, I don't know. But for all of us who are born in the 80s and 70s, travel agencies, right? All of you know, have seen a travel agency? Do you get to see a travel agency nowadays? It's very rare, but you've seen one, right? So a travel agency is a lifestyle business. Agree, disagree? A travel agency running in a place with 5 people, 10 people, and he's doing ticketing for the entire system. It's a lifestyle business. Is it a fundable business? Is it a fundable business? Somebody said yes. Who said yes? Yeah. No. Is it a fundable? That's my question. So when Make My Trip started, right, you had one travel agent who was looking at, this makes no sense. If I can convert it to an online portal, then I can scale like that graph that you did, correct? So now we have Make My Trip, we have Ixigo, we have all these other startups. You have Ease My Trip as well, and Pitti has made it profitable as well. And now he's gone to his next venture, right? So can you make a lifestyle business a fundable business? The answer is yes, but you need to think differently. You cannot be operating in the same set of parameters, right? So what is a lifestyle business? So if you go and meet a VC and talk about a lifestyle business, will he invest in you? Yes, no? Guys, sir, can you just close the door? I can't hear myself. Come inside, there's a lot of space inside. If you meet a VC or an angel or a private equity firm, if you have a lifestyle business, will the VC or an angel or a private equity invest? No. Be very clear. Unless you have a fundable business, they will not invest. So I started my entrepreneurship journey in 2009. I got funded 10 years later in 2019. But in that 10 years, I built 3 companies, shut them down, started the 4th company, and since then I've raised close to about $10 million in terms of funding through venture debt, equity, angel fund, VC fund, etc., etc. Again, like I said, I'm just ahead of you in the marathon. Once you guys start, some of you will overtake me, and then you will be on stage explaining to me how will I raise a $100 million check. And that's possible, only if you have a fundable business. Is it clear? So what is a fundable business? Let's talk about fundable, and then we'll come to what is a lifestyle business. So fundable business is something that can achieve massive scale. All of you know what scale is? Scale is something that can achieve a lot of business by just turning the button. So in a travel agency, for getting the revenues of Make My Trip, how many people do I have to hire? Thousands, lakhs, correct? But does Make My Trip have lakhs of people? No. They're asking us to book our own ticket, check out, pay for it, and go. Whereas in a travel agency, starting from the time you walk in till the time you get onto the flight, the guy is doing everything for you. Right? So it's a fundamental change in the business model. And that is what causes disruption. And that is what all of you should be trying to do. Think about it in a different way. Ola, Uber. There was a time we didn't have Uber in the world. Remember haggling with the taxi, auto? I still do in Koranjeri. There's no Uber. But still, there is a time when Uber was not there. What did the company do? They converted it into an app, right? It's on tap, it's available, and the rest is history. So I don't have to tell you what Ola and Uber does, but can you all think of a fundable business? So before you meet the VC, practice that pitch. Clear? Agree? The most scariest thing that you have to do when you build a fundable business, it has to run without you. It has to be independent of the founder. That means you have to make yourself redundant. Can you believe that? You're starting your own business and you're saying that, sir, I have to make myself redundant. It's a very, very important point. It has to be independent of the founder. In a fundable business, the VCs want to make sure that anything happens to the founder, the business, the money that they've invested into the company stays even after the founder has left the company or is no more on this world. Is it clear? It's a very different mindset. You know, there is when I was in Delhi for about 10 years. This, what we call Modlali here, we call Lala. So after all the MBA that I did, after staying in Delhi, I said, I've gone through Lala School of Business, LSB, right? Where the Lala sits in the front of the store, and any customer that goes in and out, all the other people look at the owner and say, huh. He has his way of telling what to do with the customer, how much discount. What is that business? It is founder-led. If the founder is not there in the shop, what happens? Sales will decrease, money will get stolen from the counter, somebody will put a fake QR code in the front and people will scam that out, right? Can happen? None of that happens in a fundable business. Do you think my team in Bangalore is not doing anything? They're all working today. It's a working day. I'm spending time investing in you guys and they are working for the company, including me. Right? So that is where you build a fundable business. You design to be scalable, you design it to be systemized, and you design it to be independent of you. The third, you have to think big. You have to think really, really big. You can't say that I want to do only 10 lakhs of business, I want to do 1 crore of business. You have to say I am thinking of $100 million, I'm thinking of $1 billion, because that's when the investor is excited. The investor has made his millions, he's made his crores. He's not interested in your 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 50 lakhs. That can be interesting for you because that's how you are started. But he's thinking, how do you get to an IPO? Remember that curve, IPO? So think big. And thinking big happens with tech platforms, disruptive platforms, large scale, whether it's e-commerce or any kind of commerce. And that is where you get funded, where VCs will run after you. They will call you and say, guys, I've heard about you, a lot about you, what are you doing? That's how majority of the VCs or angels come to you. They'll hear about you. There is social media, there's regular media. When you read about all these guys who went to IPO, how many of you have heard of Open? Open Bank? It's a unicorn from Kerala. You're aware of it? Do you know Anish's story when he started? He was sleeping on the platforms. Right. If you're aware of it, that is the side of the story you don't hear. You just hear that, okay, Kerala has got a new unicorn. So there's a lot of under the sea level which happens, valley of death. And once you cross that, suddenly you hear become a unicorn. That is very different from what actually happens 5, 10, 15, 20 years, no matter how much time it takes. AI has decreased that time a lot. I see angel checks for AI going like 10 million, 20 million. I think there was a $134 million seed check. Wow. So you guys are very lucky. You're born in an era where the first check is very, very high. When this era that I come from, the first check was 2 crores, 5 crores, $500,000, 1 million. But there is a lot of investors right now. When I started fundraising, there was about 50, 60 VCs in the country. Today, there's north of 400, 500 VCs and like thousands of angels. So a lot of opportunity, guys. And last but not the least, can you read this at the bottom? The guys at the back? Exit. When a VC walked into the room, he sees where the exit is first. Similarly, when he invests in your company, he wants to see who is going to take care of my... You see this curve? Can you see the first, second, third, fourth? It's like a relay race. All of you know what a relay race is? Guys, sorry, it's way past lunchtime, or is it lunchtime? Am I short on time? What is a relay race? How many people are there in a relay race? Right? So think of this like a relay race. Your first check is coming from an angel. First member of the relay race. The second check is coming from VC. Second member of the relay race. Third is coming from a private equity folk. And fourth is IPO or acquisition. It could be acquired by a company or an IPO. That's an exit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Relay race, 1, 2, 3, 4. The baton passes from one player to the other. So who do you think the angels network with? VCs. Who do you think the VCs network with? Private equity guys. Who do you think the private equity guys network with? The IPO guys. Clear? Relay race? Clear? Now you understand why exit is important. Because the angel wants to exit, make his money, and then invest in the next set of guys. Because he's in it for the kick. As entrepreneurs, we are also in it for the kick. Now we have got so many kicks that we don't know when to stop. Right? So moving to the next step. More English, more jargons, but we have covered a lot of this. What do investors want to see? You would have heard a lot of these things already in various Kerala Startup Mission sessions. You need a business plan, you need a great team. How many of you think you can become a solopreneur? AI, we are hoping that the next level of AI will give us the final solopreneur who is going to become a unicorn. But majority of the unicorns are not solopreneurs. They are multipreneurs. That means they have more than 2 founders, 3 founders, more than 1 founder definitely. Right? So make sure you have a great team. And I was born in an era, like I said, where hustlers were given, you know what's a hustler? Anybody who does not know what a hustler is? Hustler is somebody who's always trying to sell. Okay? Today, in today's day and age, the VC funds are investing more in tech guys, where somebody who has got experience of 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So make sure that you have at least an partner who is a techie, and you're building a tech solution, which is very, very, the kind of investor checks that you're writing right now are mainly going towards tech-driven, deep tech, AI. They need to be tech-heavy or knowledge-heavy in a particular sector. Last but not the least, have a validation of your product. Don't go and say, sir, I will build the next something. I need $2 million to raise. They all want an MVP. They all want a product market fit. They all want paying customers or some sort of traction that you can develop. Have you heard of the word traction? Yes? No? Cool. Do I have to explain this, guys? All of you clear? Any particular point that anybody wants to? Yes? See, so I have never started a company by myself. An entrepreneur's journey is very, very lonely. There's very few people that you can talk to, including your spouse, right? So it's better to always have somebody who you can keep debating. Advisors are doing their job, but they're also doing something else full time. They may not have the time or the wherewithal to sort of explain a lot of things to you, right? So they might have the bandwidth. And plus, he's not there, your electricity is not there. You can't call him and say, there's no electricity in the office, right? There's no water in the toilet. There's a lot of daily problems. Sometimes you have family problems, you have to leave office. Who will handle the office in your absence? So I've always found at least 2 is a good number. 3 is a great number. 4, 5, 6. Too much of it also becomes a problem. Like you at housing.com, you're I think 22 people, right? So that also becomes a problem. But I think at least 2, 3, if not 4. There's a lot of things that sometimes you're up and sometimes he's down, sometimes you're down and he's up or she's up. It's the team that makes the company. You cannot build a unicorn by yourself. It becomes very difficult. That's why I think AI, people are expecting that AI will become the new team. So they're expecting that one guy can become a unicorn right now. But let's see until that happens.
So, sorry to ask whether it might be a very stupid question.
There's no stupid questions,
okay.
Please.
So, what if there is a case where one of my advisor who is with me full time, but not having any equity in the company, is he still an advisor or is he a co-founder?
Whatever you want him to be. I mean, you can call him an advisor, you can call him a co-founder.
Okay, so, sorry to interrupt. So the level of equity in the company doesn't decide if he's a co-founder.
You can have a phased co-founder where you're testing the person, if it's your idea, and you want him to join, and you're not sure if he's co-founder material, so you want him to at least stay 5, 6 months, a year with you before you give him equity. You can give it in delayed equity as well. So there's, technically for an investor, a co-founder is somebody who has equity, but for you, you can call him whatever you want till you feel comfortable to call him.
Yeah, I was talking about the investor perspective, so yeah, one who has equity. Okay, thank you.
Guys, there's something called as execution, number 8. Something that we all miss. Can all of you see execution? Investors don't care about idea. They really don't care about idea. So if you say, sir, I need to sign an NDA with you to send an idea, please forget it. They hear thousands of ideas, probably the same idea every day. From 10 different people, 100 different people, that's their job. They don't have the time to run behind your idea. But if you have time to run behind your idea, chase execution. How many of you have gone to a Broadway in Kochi or let's say Chandni Chowk? Okay. You've seen the guys who sell leggings? So imagine you have to invest in one of these guys who sell leggings. Is there any moat in leggings? Any USP? Any right to win? But you see all the ladies running after this one guy who is selling a lot of leggings. So you're observing the entire street and you say, this guy is selling the most. If you're a VC, among all these guys who are selling leggings, who would you invest in? The guy who's selling the most, correct? In our VC language, it's called traction. At least at the VC, you'll come and see here, kar kya raha hai? What is he doing? Investors are like that. Imagine all of your legging sellers. And he just wants to see who is selling the most, who has the highest traction. Is it clear? I'm just putting it in basic language so that it's clear. It's a lot complicated. There's a lot of things you have to do. I'm just oversimplifying it because we are running short of time. It shows 12:50 a.m. Am I going backwards? In my, okay, it's 2:20. So coming back to your question on the first thing, gather a great team, right? Experience helps, education helps. It does not mean that all of you have to be IITians and IIMs to be successful. Absolutely not. Execution, traction trumps everything. Trumps age, trumps education, trumps social status, trumps gender, trumps everything. Traction, traction, traction. But there's something that we as Keralites are very bad at. Number 9, network. It's 2:20. How many of you have got at least 10 visiting cards since morning? 1, 2, 3, 4. What are the rest of you doing? Have you come here to listen to my session? Guys, wrong priority. Your session should be to network with as many people. You see this red tag? You see the investor tag? I don't know what color the tag is. Target, scan blue and red tags. That's all you should be meeting. The white tags probably is an entrepreneur like you. You can meet him after Sunday. But meet investors. After you finish the investors, meet the people who are speaking, listening. After you finish them, then go to the white tags. Can you all do that? Simple. Network, network, network. How many of you are non-Mallus here? Like 5%. Right? So all the Mallus in the room, please network. We don't love to network. You go to cities like Delhi, Bangalore, Bombay, they're always going networking, asking for coffee. Can I meet you? Can I drop in your office? Please do that. If you don't have enough people in your village, come to Kochi or Trivandrum. If you don't even have more people there, go to Bangalore, go to Chennai, Hyderabad, Bombay, Delhi, outside the country, Dubai, Singapore, US. Travel everywhere for investors. I travel everywhere for investors. I just closed an investor from Qatar and Singapore last week. Travel. You have to do it at every stage. Please network. At least the change in the society is coming now where, till now, even if I go for weddings, I have a wedding coming on 23rd. They're going to ask me, Mone Jolian and Kitili, you didn't get any job in the US? You didn't get any job in the Middle East? That's what they'll ask me. I'm where I am. But still, that's the stigma in the society we have. You guys can change it. It's changing. It's changing. In Bangalore, nobody will ask you didn't get a job. Yes, no. In Delhi, why did you get a job? You should have started a business. You didn't get any business, then you got a job. So it's a very different culture, right? So there's a lot of cultural shift, I think, which is what Kerala Startup Mission is doing. So please network, network, network. And the last thing, don't talk about valuation to your investor. Sir, I want a $20 million valuation. Not happening. Let the investor decide what valuation. If you have a valuation in mind, tell it, sir, I'm looking at this price. But don't be stuck up on valuation. Get the first check in. How many of you have left checks on the table with valuation? Okay, good. So you're not reached this. But if you do reach, leave cash on the table. Let the investors decide. All of you, any other queries? I'm not going through all the 10 points. Yes, sir. Yeah. So very good question. And I think I'll come back to this. So angels don't have any time limit. They're investing from their FD or savings. So they can stay till whenever you kick them out or whenever the next investor kicks them out. So they invest typically go all the way till an IPO. If the company survives to an IPO, they can last till then. But super angels or institutionalized angels or VCs have a time limit. So it typically starts, there is a 3 plus 2, there is a 4 plus 4, there is a 5 plus 2. All of these are fund lives. That means they have to invest in the first 3 years. Whatever money they've invested in you, they have to sell it to another investor and return the money back to LPs, limited partners who have invested in. How does a VC raise money? A VC raises money from other rich people who are really, really successful. They invest that money in startups like yours. Is it clear? So when they raise money from limited partners or from really rich HNIs, they give a time limit. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 9. Now it's, I think the largest is 10 years. So within 10 years, they have to give the money back to the LP, limited partner, right? So they have a time limit. So VC looks at that, okay. So it depends on the fund life of the VC. So if you approach the VC when he just started his fund, he probably has a lot more money to invest. It's getting beyond the time limit I have, otherwise I can keep talking about it, but there's a time limit, right? So if the VC does not have money, no point approaching the VC. So do some homework. When did it start? How much money he has? Is he investing in multiple startups or not of the last few months? Then you know probably he does not have money, right? So, okay. Network, network, network. Please. And when you network, please sell, sell, sell. How many of you are engineers? Oh my God. So we have an engineer bias. As an engineer, we build that whatever we build, we'll sell. We just have to build it and there's like 10 people standing out the door who will pay us money and we'll. It's a huge bias. Nobody's waiting at the door. So the fourth company, we first sold and then we built. Can that happen? Very difficult. So please learn to network, 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 sell, sell, sell. How many of you are afraid of selling? One. Excellent. At least majority of you love to sell. Please either learn to sell, find someone who can sell, or just outright go ahead and sell. There's no, it'll just keep falling down. It's okay. I don't want to get into a business plan because I believe there are sessions on business plans which you guys can go. But if you're looking at a business plan should at least have these 12 things. Out of these 12 things, what is the most important aspect of this? Any guesses? If you say the top 3 things that a VC looks at, among all these. Business model. Sorry? I'm sorry, what did you say? Feasibility of the product? Risk, okay. Market size. Anything else? Sorry? What is one to point number 3? Is it clear to all of you? Everything else is equally important. The TAM is important, how you're solving the problems, the traction, the solutioning, the feasibility, everything else that you get said, absolutely correct. But pay a lot of attention to team. Team is a huge component of an investor fundraising. Is it clear? Let's get to the traps. I think I'm towards the end of the slide, and I think I'm almost done with time as well. So if you look at the traps, there's a lot of preconceived notions that we have as entrepreneurs. In the last 15 years, all of these have gone down the drain for me. But each of you will have a lot of the awakening and be ready to hear a lot of no's. I have heard no's from at least 200, 300 VCs, right? But it's only a couple of yeses that I need to convert into a successful fundraise, right? So just go into a meeting, expect a no from the person, but be mentally prepared for it. Take your ego and just throw it in the drain, because there's no concept of ego in front of an investor. An investor will poke hole into every assumption that you put in front of him. Is it clear? Every assumption. He'll make you feel that, as parents, we have a bias towards our kids. It's like you're the good in whatever you do. So when you raise money from 3FF, very different. Whatever you start will be successful. You're the best. You're the eye of my, apple of my eye, blah, blah, blah. Get in front of a VC. Antithesis, right? So that can happen. So don't fall into any one of this, except especially the last one. It's my idea, I will not reveal it to you. How many of you have said this to a VC? Should I share my idea? How many of you are afraid of sharing your idea to investors? Guys, you can raise your hand. I was afraid. I used to sign NDAs before. I will not share my idea, sir. You sign an NDA first. Now when we prepare our IM, it'll go to everybody in this planet. Don't sign an NDA. Just make sure that whatever we put in our IM is not at all secretive. That's how we make our IMs today. I get IMs of my competition every day from multiple friends of mine. It's top secret, don't share it with anybody. That's how business plans are in India, right? It's not a problem with VCs, it's just the way the industry is. Are you clear? So don't make a business plan and then put it in your safe locker in your bank. Agree? Disagree? Be ready to share your idea. If you want to show them plans, show business plans, show numbers. Even if you show all your plans, an entrepreneur cannot copy it. Nobody can do the business plan as well as you can. Have that confidence and build a business where that is possible. Clear? Yes? No? So this is the last slide. I was just Googling last night, right? The question on this is, why are Kerala startups not getting funded? Right? This is a problem that Aditya told me, and I wanted to see this. A lot of these things is what the KSM is working on, Kerala Startup Mission is working on. And if you look at the positive developments, I'd like to finish off today's session with just these 4 of these, is that A, there's a growing ecosystem. It is unbelievable the amount of work that KSM is doing. I'm a part of Kerala Startup Mission. We've been funded by them. I've got grants and which we've returned as well. But I'm right now in Bangalore, and I don't think Karnataka government does as much as Kerala government does. And I've been in Delhi. There's no support. In Bombay, I don't think any state does as much as what Kerala Startup does. So please, 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 my humble request, please use it. Take the money. Go network. If you write an email to the team saying that I want to meet somebody in Bombay, Bangalore, Delhi, they'll arrange a meeting for you in 2 minutes. In Bangalore, you write an email to the state government, I want to meet somebody, they'll not even respond to it for the next 20 years, right? Unless you know someone. That's how good Kerala Startup Mission is. Second is talent and product. Kochi has a lot of talent. Trivandrum has a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent in cities like Chennai, Bangalore, Bombay. Please go and hire. You cannot build a company by yourself. Gone are the days where, see again, king and rich, 2 different ideologies. King, you are the best in everything, I have to do everything. Rich, I'm the worst person in the room, I have to hire the best people in the world. Right? Different strategies completely. If you already have enough money and you're like Zuckerberg, you can be king all you want, you can take the money and then start yourself. But if you don't, please have a team that's better than you. Last but not least, sectors. Very, very important. I meet a lot of startups who are saying, sir, I'm starting an e-commerce platform. Do you think VCs want to hear about an e-commerce platform right now? Yes, no, maybe? please don't start up an e-commerce platform. Please don't start another Ola, Uber. Because Ola and Uber have gone through their cycles, they've raised multiple money, and the amount of money they just underprice it below you. Spend your time on something and build something that you think is really sustainable in the long term. It's okay to build lifestyle businesses. I'm not saying that don't build lifestyle. Please do build it, but find what you like. And that will take you to your first check. Cool? That's it from my side, guys. I hope I'm in time. Any questions? Any questions, or am I out of time? Faisal, am I out of time? Okay. So maybe we can have 2 questions, 3 questions. Can we have 3 questions? 1 question. Okay. No questions? Cool, guys. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. All the best. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So actually the first 2 startups, we started at a time which was 2009. If you know the 2008 crisis, right? So there wasn't money around, right? So I guess it was a need of the hour that time. So we didn't raise funds. But the third startup we did, we wanted to raise funds. We were doing about 6-7 crores a month. We thought that was profitable enough. We were having profits, so we weren't worried about it. And old school guys, right? Let's not raise fund right now. Let's do 50 crores a month and then raise funds. Today I'm doing about 60-70 crores a month. I'm still raising funds every now and then. Right? So it's just thought process, perception, and I guess learning curve. I didn't attend the Kerala Startup Missions in 2009 to tell me the right thing. So I learned it by myself. Cool. Yes. Yes.
For to raise an angel investor fund, so how much will be the traction?
So I'll tell you what was told to me when I started. Right, when I met a couple of VCs and angels, the angels told me at least do about 20 lakhs of business to start. Right, if you are able to do 20 lakhs of business, then I know that there's a demand for it. Right, so that is what worked for me. So today, an angel who you meet, let's say you meet 100 different angels. 100 different angels will tell you 100 different traction metrics. You ask them, sir, what is the traction which will convince you to invest? Everybody will have a number, pick the lowest number, and talk to him more frequently. And then you phase each of these guys in different buckets. And then say, sir, we have reached your target. Would you like to invest? He'll say, no, I need more. So everybody will ask you for more, but eventually they will reach a saturation. They'll say, okay, sir, we're ready to check. But it depends on your sector. It depends on your line of business. I'm in the lending business in insurance, so that was enough. Also, they wanted contracts and agreements. I got agreements with 2 large unicorns or decacorns, right? They are billion-dollar companies. So I got 2 contracts, which was worth maybe about 15-20 crores. So that was enough for them to invest a check as well. So it depends on your business. Thank you, sir. Guys, I think the next session speaker is waiting. Thank you so much for your time.